What's going on, everyone? We are back with now 30. We are at big number 30. Blake, this is almost your age, actually. Isn't that right, you old man?
We're getting pretty close.
You're very close. But we're back with another week of sports to go over, to analyze, to recap, and just downright break down. Of course, I'm your host, Ross Allen, and I'm joined this week by UFC correspondent Blake Campbell. And Blake, you ready to break down some actually some decent amount of UFC news for what's like normally in our weekly podcast?
I know with all the events not happening, I'd kind of prefer it to be a slower news week, but it's unfortunately kind of ramped up, it seems, in the past couple weeks with all the necessary changes that are going to have to take place.
And there's some even worse changes that are going to take place now. But we'll get to that. Of course, this week we're going to run through big UFC 249 news. John Jones has messed up again. He's had another run-in with the law, and it's a bad look. There's a couple free agent quarterbacks that still need homes. ESPN is getting desperate right now. The NFL draft is going to be going ahead, and we'll let you know what we think about that. And some big news from the NCAA Division One Council. Blake, the NCAA actually gets something right.
Hey, miracles happen.
Yeah, every once in blue moon they might do something right, but we're going to start things off this week with kind of a redo of this. Normally we do either things we like or things we hate. Blake, it's been a while. I don't know how long it's been since we've had a professional sporting event. So I want to ask you, what do you miss most right now about sports?
Well, I think for me, I'm I'm a big Sacramento Kings fan, so I definitely miss the NBA, and I miss being able to go to downtown Sacramento and go to see a game, go with my boys, get some brews and watch some good basketball. Maybe
In
sometimes,
nice arena too. Golden
sometimes
One
good
is
basketball.
probably one of the best. I'd say, would you say top five arena in the league?
I mean, it's tough for me to say because I haven't been to like any other arenas, but it is state of the art. That's for sure.
That's
You can't
damn
you
sure.
can't complain with how new it is.
No. You can't complain about it. It's eco-friendly too. We're saving the environment by watching basketball. Ain't that right?
Oh, absolutely, dude. That's the main reason we built that stadium, right? To save the environment.
Right? Basketball's all secondary, you know? It's not even the basketball arena. If anything, it's a Monster Jam arena. That's what it's primarily used for.
Oh, those were the days. Arco Arena days.
Arco Arena.
Gravedigger. Oh man.
Bro, I was in there. Like, I went to one of those events when I was like 8. Best day of my life. I catch some dirt that guy hit in the face with from a gravedigger.
Dude, I feel like
Pristine.
Gravedigger was everybody's favorite.
Grave man, real ones. Only the realest of real ones know about the beef between Gravedigger and Maximum Destruction. If you don't know about that beef, I can't mess with you.
You might, I'm not gonna lie, bro. You might have to remind me after this episode.
Well, sorry, Blake. Gonna have to cut you off now because I can't mess with you.
Shoot.
But man, the thing, I was sitting on my bed this Sunday afternoon and just thinking because it was supposed to be over this weekend. It was supposed to be MLB opening day, and I was just sitting there, man, just think about right now. I could be sitting in front of the TV with my legs up on the coffee table, laid back in the couch with a nice sandwich, and just watching some nice daytime baseball. Seems some guys go out there on that nice green field with the A's with the nice Kelly green jerseys, and see some dingers go over the fence. Here's the crack of the bat, man. I miss that. I miss baseball. I never thought I missed baseball this much, but I do. I do. I know a lot of people say baseball is a boring sport, and it can be a lot of the times, but it out of all the sports I watch is by far the most relaxing to watch. So it's not bad to have a nice
It's
cold
probably the most
drink.
relaxing to play as well.
Oh, yeah, man. How can you not love a sport where you can eat while playing, man? That's living the dream, okay? But I miss being able to grab a cold drink, and by cold drink I mean like a nice lemonade. Not even hard lemonade, just lemonade. Throw my feet up, lay back, and watch some baseball. And probably not going to get that for a while now.
Nope.
Oh,
Not likely.
It's a damn shame, but what you gonna do about it? All we can do right now is grit our teeth, hope for the best, and uh, and try to not cry. Let's go forward with put on the face that doesn't show your inner emotions and us crumbling apart at the insides because we don't have sports. Also, just before we get on to the UFC 249 news, just some personal stuff. In case something does happen, most of you know, I'm in Boise, Idaho. About a couple hours ago, we did have a fairly decently sized earthquake, so I might get some aftershocks while we're recording. If anything, it'll just add to the whole effect of the thing, and it might make for some good entertainment. But I just want to give you a heads up.
You
Okay,
guys might hear Ross scream.
maybe. How'd you know? Man, but that's the things we miss. Blake, I know you miss the hell out of the Kings right now, and I obviously miss the hell out of them Oakland A's and some good old afternoon and nightcap baseball. Now let's get on from some sad talk to some even more sad talk. If you're a MMA fan, you woke up, was it Sunday? You woke up on Sunday morning and you woke up to some of the worst news you've probably seen for a while now, in that the main event for UFC 249, which is Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson for the lightweight strap, a fight that's now been booked 5 times, is in even more trouble, and there's almost zero chance that this thing is actually going down on April 18th in an unknown location. So the news we woke up to is on Sunday morning is that Khabib said that he is now stuck in Russia now that the country is on lockdown. He recently flew back to Russia. He was training in the U.S. In a local gym in San Jose, California. He was in the U.S. About 10 days ago. Then he flew to the United Arab Emirates after Dana said that the fight wasn't going to be in the U.S. and there's a 99% chance that it was going to take place in the UAE. He then flew back to Russia after the UAE said they were likely going to restrict travel to UAE residents only. The location of UFC 249 is still unconfirmed, but it was a lot of people are speculating either the United Arab Emirates or Russia, most likely there in the Middle East. Location still unconfirmed by Dana White. Big point that that people have been taking note of is that Khabib Nurmagomedov is a devout Muslim and he practices Ramadan every year, and that's when forgive me if I'm wrong, but that's when you fast between dawn and sunset if you're Muslim. And so obviously that's going to make training really hard and put a damper on the performance that you could actually have. And so Khabib doesn't fight during this time, during the time between April 23rd and May 23rd. At least that's when it starts and ends in the United States. So UFC is now looking for a replacement fighter to face Tony Ferguson. The most likely candidate is Justin Gaethje. His most recent fight, we all remember, was against Donald Cowboy Cerrone at UFC Fight Night Vancouver. But it wasn't just Justin Gaethje. Gaethje was the one being appointed by Dana White. But a guy that really tried to put his hat or his name into the hat was top contender Dustin Poirier, which, of course, his most recent fight was against Khabib Nurmagomedov back in September at UFC 242. So, Blake, with all that being said, my question for you is it even worth to the UFC or to Tony Ferguson to book a new opponent for him if Khabib isn't available, or should we just postpone the fight again and try to book it for a sixth time?
Well, I think it's unlikely that this whole card even goes down on April 19th. At this point, why? That's the question I keep asking.
That's my later question. So if we go that too, is UFC 249? Is there even a point to having that card now at this point in time?
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna lay out some scenarios.
Cool.
So my biggest deal is like it's pretty much April, right? Tomorrow's April 1st. Mm-hmm. So there's like 19 days until fight day. Tony and his opponent would get that many days to train for each other and prepare, which is like, it's not out of the question that could happen, but still I think it's a little ridiculous. And I even think I remember Dustin Poirier on Instagram Live today. The very little bit I got to catch, I think it was him and Ariel Helwani. Mm-hmm. He was saying that he would no doubt like that fight, but he would just like to prepare. And I totally agree with him. I think that if you're not going to make this Habib fight, like there's no way that Habib versus Tony goes down on April, is it 18th or 19th?
18th, April
There's
18th.
there's no way that it goes down on the 18th. There's 0% chance. Okay, so let's move on. We have a few options now. We have Gaethje, we have Poirier, and I think another name that should be thrown in the mix too, Conor McGregor. Why would that not make sense? Conor McGregor wants to fight Habib, right? He wants to get that rematch. He wants to go for the lightweight title again.
This is perfect if you guys were able to listen into our discussion show from last week. Blake, this was probably, you said that this was your dream matchup right now.
This is my dream matchup. I'm foaming at the mouth. And what's interesting enough is I saw Coach Kavanaugh actually reply to a post. I think that I can't remember who made the post, but he was replying to speculation of Tony looking for a new opponent, and he said, "Why not another person?" Because all the names that were being thrown in were like Justin and Dustin.
Before you get to this, just for the viewers I don't know, Coach Kavanaugh is who?
Coach Kavanaugh is McGregor's coach, his head coach. If you guys didn't know, so I think that there's a few different options they could go. I just think April 18th in general is just a kind of a whack thing to go through. Like,
right.
I don't think anything is going to be different with the quarantine anywhere. I don't think it's responsible on anyone's part to host those fights when the whole country is still going to be on lockdown, basically. Like, I think they're trying to extend it till June through June in some.
June 30th, I do believe.
Right, in some states. So I think
the Fed government, at least in the United States, so some states are postponing it to pushing the quarantine date to June 30th. The federal government had just pushed it back to around April 30th, I believe.
So now, why don't we just scrap this whole thing, this whole event? I know it sucks, and the UFC does not want to eat money. They're a business.
Yeah.
They're losing money by not having events. They're losing money by not.
And I just want to let you guys know, Blake, I'm
tickets.
sorry to keep cutting you off like this, but for a guy like you, Blake, to say that we should just postpone this card, that's kind of a big deal, knowing how much you're looking forward to not only this card but just UFC in general.
Exactly. I mean, and I'm saying, because if it doesn't happen on April 18th, that fight's not going to happen. Habib is a devout Muslim. He's not going to change his religion and his culture at the blink of an eye just so he could fight some dude. I think another good option, probably sounds far-fetched, why not just do like an all-star card? Why not just get the craziest sounding of fights? Like, get the Usman versus Masvidal fight. Get the, get Leon Edwards and Tyron Woodley fighting on that same card. So there's some drama behind the scenes too, right? Get Cejudo and Aldo. Get all those guys that we had locked and loaded and we're looking forward to. Get Francis Ngannou versus Rosenstruik, right? Get all these guys. And then give Tony a Conor McGregor. Give him someone that's going to get everybody excited. Something that's going to it's going to be kind of like a reset, right, for the UFC this year. I just think that there's so many different ways they can go, and I don't think they should rush this decision by any means. Like, if Habib versus Tony isn't going to happen, that is the fight that every hardcore MMA fan and even a bunch of the casuals too, I think, that are in the know, that is the fight that everybody was looking forward to. Everybody. I mean, that's needed to be settled. It's been booked 5 times now, and it is just mind-blowing to me that it can't go through. I mean, it seemed like God himself came in and said, nah, this ain't happening.
Man, why is it so cursed?
It's crazy, man. It's divine intervention is the only thing that explains it. I really wish we could see these guys throw down. But the main point I'm trying to say is, if they can't, don't rush the decision. Let's just get the right guy in there, the entertaining fight that the fans, that not only the fans are going to enjoy, but also makes sense for the division.
Mm-hmm. See, I like that. I think I'm kind of going off of your sentiment is that we've already waited almost like 5 years for this fight now. What's another 4 or 5 months going to do? I think it is in everyone's best interest. It's in Ferguson's best interest. It's in the UFC's best interest. It's hard to say that's in the fire's best interest, because if these guys don't fight, they don't get paid. Right. So that's why a lot of these guys are so willing to fight, because it's not like any other sport. Like NFL players, they're still getting paid. MLB players, they're still getting paid. You have NHL players, they're still getting paid. UFC fighters, they're not getting paid. right now, and so that's why a lot of them are still very, willing to risk their health and safety to fight because they need that paycheck. But ultimately, I think as a whole, it might just be best to push it back. Do something. UFC is one of the very few sports that doesn't have an off season. You know,
Right.
they almost there's fighting like what 50 weeks of the year, something ridiculous like that.
They try to have it. They try to have at least I would say like 2 events per month.
At least most time it's like 3 to 4 events a month between the fight nights and the main event and the pay per views every month. But I like your point. Take a break. Give us like an off season, a few months. Let everyone rest, recover. Let's keep everyone inside. Social distancing, everyone. The more all you guys stay home, the quicker we'll be done. And then once we're out of that proverbial off season, let's book that All Star card. Let's put all the fights that everyone is dying to see on that card and give the fans and the fighters one hell of a night to kind of celebrate UFC being back.
Because if you think about it, that shouldn't throw a wrench into any of their plans. These are all fights they already had locked and
Mm-hmm.
loaded, ready to go.
Yeah.
These are all fights that have been scrapped. So just take like the main events from all these cards that are getting scrapped and put it in the main card, right? For the All-Star card.
And listen how you could book that after months of being off. Everyone's going watch that card, especially when UFC puts together the greatest card of all time.
I'm telling you, if you can somehow get a Conor McGregor on that return card, don't know how you make it happen, but if you could make it happen, it's gonna be through the roof.
2-3 million pay-per-view sales.
I'd say an easy 2.
Dude, I might.
Especially against someone as crazy. If it is Tony Ferguson or if it was Justin or Dustin, it doesn't matter. Any 3 of those guys, Conor McGregor can sell that fight.
Conor McGregor could sell a fight against Dustpan, and so he could sell. He could sell a fight against Dustpan. He could sell a fight against the old man in the bar.
Blink.
He could sell a fight against a fan and his cell phone in Miami. He could sell a fight against Justin or Dustin. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, but man, with that, I was gonna say, Usman versus Masvidal is so as of right now, that fight is most likely off. It has not been officially taken off the card, and the card is still technically set to go on April 18th at the undisclosed location in front of a closed audience. And so, just going off of this, supposedly still going on, Usman versus Masvidal for the welterweight title is reportedly being booked for UFC 249. Nothing confirmed yet. And we still have Tyron Woodley and Colby Covington offering to fight to help save the card. So, as of right now, we've said, Blake especially has said that we should just postpone the card as a whole, push off to a better date, not sacrifice everyone's safety. The UFC is probably going to be able to make it out of this all right. Let's hope so, at least. They got that big money ESPN deal, so hopefully that helps. But it's probably not worth having the card at this point, is it? Even with all this stuff.
I don't think so. I think it's just a little too risky for everyone's health. I just think if citizens are being told to stay at home, you're going to have just like another empty stadium card. Like what's the plan here? And don't get me wrong, I want to see people punching each other. So don't think I'm being some softy. I just want everyone to be healthy and safe, and I want the fights to make sense. I don't want anyone to be rushed and forced into a decision that they don't, necessarily need to make.
Let's take time to have both fighters fully prepare for a fight. That rush fight might not be as good as a fight as we can actually get from them. It might not reach its full potential. So it'd be better just to lay off, have all of them have full camps, and put on an even better show than it would be,
Yep.
But we got some more UFC news now, and more troubling news. Jon Jones was arrested on Thursday night. He was charged with driving or with a DWI, negligent use of firearm, possession of an open container, and no proof of insurance. He is booked by police early Thursday morning. Just breaking down, that happened. Of course, I just got an article put up on the website breaking down his previous arrests. this most current one and kind of the problems with it. But you guys can go check that out if you want a version that you can read. But we're going to break this down on the show. And so recently, what Jones has gone through before is he's also gone through like a arrest. He has battery charges. He's had a hit and run charge. He's had a DUI charge. All these, he's avoided major prison. He's avoided jail time in all these. Either it's been community service or fines. The judge just came out with a ruling a couple hours ago for this most recent incident. I think he's being put under house arrest for 4 days, which might not be the most fitting of sentences because it feels like almost everyone is under house arrest right now. But that's what you got with it. But Blake, all I know is that there's some really troubling things that he was saying that we saw in the body cam footage that was released by the police. So a couple of things that he said. He was saying stuff like have anxiety to the officers when they're putting him in cuffs. He was pleading to the officers to take off his hoodie. He was saying stuff like, I just got to take off my hoodie. Please, please. And when he was asked why by an officer, Jones said, it's because my anxiety gets so bad. He also said stuff like, please, guys, just let me take off my hoodie. And when the officer asked if Jones wanted to take it off himself, he replied to the officer, no, you can. I just want you guys to feel comfortable. And also, he was her in the video saying stuff like, my family, man, so scared for my family, and everything's been going bad. I just want to be with my family. Man, I kind of get goosebumps just by reading that stuff and when hearing on the video. And all I know is John Jones is not in a good place right now. He's not in a good place mentally. He's not in a good place physically. And he needs help, man. He needs help, whether it be by himself, his family, the UFC, his friends. The guy needs help. What's your feeling about this whole situation?
Yeah, I hate talking about stuff like this because, I mean, the guy's under a microscope. And I'm not trying to justify any of his decisions. He clearly has a problem with his decision making. And I'm not trying to knock the dude. But everyone goes through their own stuff, and it's just unfortunate that his is going to be so, it's going to go into such detail. Every little detail about that whole altercation is going to be, that whole situation is going to be analyzed now. And you guys got to keep in mind, like, he was effed up during this time. He probably doesn't even know what he's saying half the time. But the pieces that I took a lot out of were when he was mentioning his family, when you could kind of hear the gravity of the situation kind of hit him, like, oh man, like, this is my career. This is third time now, I want to say, where
Fourth.
I've done fourth time now where I've done something super questionable. And
This is the fourth arrest since like 2012, I believe.
I think he's got to get someone better around him. I don't know who's around him now. Obviously, I'm not near the dude. But I would, if I was in his position.
We're not talking about this situation like we're his personal friends. We're not trying to act like that. We're just two outsiders that know almost nothing about his life, trying to put in perspective what he's actually going through.
If I'm John Jones, I pay somebody annually. I put them on a salary. Like, keep me on the straight and narrow. You're the champ. You're the greatest of all time. You should have plenty of money sitting around
like an advisor.
To be able to keep somebody. Yeah, like a life coach, anything, whatever you want to give, whatever title you want to give him. You need to have somebody around there that's not just a yes man that'll let you know, hey, you're acting like a fool right now. You need to tone it down. You need to remember who you are, what you stand for, and be a man. Because I mean, he's got to keep in mind. He knows this. He has a family. He's got to support his family, and he's got to be there for them, and provide a good life for them. And I think in that whole kind of scenario, you kind of saw like he realized he's messing up, but it's gonna take something really profound, I think, for him to get the help that he needs, because it's just a cycle now at this point. Mm-hmm. It's 4 times. That's insane, man. You gotta. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you've seen what DC's come out and said on it, but
I want to mention what I want to talk about what DC said, because I have I've always had a lot of respect for Daniel Cormier. I never really understood the amount of hate that he seemingly gets because I think he's been nothing but one of the best UFC fighters, MMA fighters of all time. He represented the U.S. well in the was it Pan American Games and the Olympics too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just been this great champion. And his rivalry with John Jones was one of the biggest in UFC history. Obviously, John Jones got the better of that one, but and obviously he still has a disdain for the person. They still don't like each other. But I respect the hell out of Daniel Cormier going on air with Ariel Helwani and talking about him being worried for John Jones and wanting John Jones to get the help that he needs and the help that he really deserves ultimately, and how he doesn't. And I agree with him on this. I don't think that the UFC should cut him. I think it's almost the opposite. I think, and I mentioned this in my article. I think that for all John Jones has done, he's put his body and his mental well-being and his physical well-being on the line for years and years and years now for the UFC. He's become one of the faces of the UFC. I don't think the UFC is where it is today without a guy like John Jones being that champion in the light heavyweight division for that long. And I think the UFC owes it to John Jones to not only keep him on the roster. Okay, they might punch him in the way, stripping his belt. I think that's justified. But the UFC, I think, should feel like they're responsible enough and they should take the step towards guiding John Jones and being that support team for him. And I think the UFC should be the one helping him get into treatment, into possible rehab, into possible therapy, and being there along his side.
And I don't know if you also seen the article John McCarthy was featured in, but he kind of ripped into John Jones.
He didn't hold back, man.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of different sides. I don't really know if there is a side to this story, but there's a lot of different opinions circulating. The main thing that I want to get across is I just want John Jones to get the help that he needs if he wants it, which I hope he would after seeing the way that he behaves on, film. Like, I really do agree with what McCarthy said. Who you are is what you do when people don't know, when they don't see. And I think that's kind of goes to what's going on with John Jones right now in his life. He's got to get it figured out. Now, my question to you is, do you think they strip him?
Man, it's the fourth time this happened, and it's not a light offense. He's being put under 4 charges. I think the UFC has to strip him. I think they have to strip him of his belt. I think it's the right thing to do. I think you take that belt off of him, or at the very least...
Are they suspending him? Has that been released yet?
Nothing has been said from the UFC about John Jones.
I didn't think so. This is probably still under review.
Yeah, the UFC is still probably doing their internal investigation on this matter.
I think if they suspend him for a year, then he gets stripped. If he escapes anything 6 months or less, I think he won't be stripped. But you know what? Maybe he needs to be stripped again. Maybe that'll kind of light the fire again, right?
I think so. I think you strip him, and then on the All-Star card or some fight later down the road, then you make a fight. Hopefully, if Thiago Santos is healthy, you put Thiago Santos against Dominic Reyes for either the interim strap or the actual light heavyweight title. If Thiago Santos isn't recovered by then and isn't ready to fight, then you put Jan Blachowicz, pronouncing that right, yeah, Blachowicz against Dominic Reyes for the strap, whether that be the interim belt or whether that be the actual light heavyweight title. You think that's kind of the way to go? Or do you think John Jones gets stripped?
I think that it just depends. Like I said, it depends on the suspension that's handed out. If it's anything less than if it's 6 months or less, I think he remains champion. And if it's anything more than that, then I do believe he's going to be stripped. And
if you're the UFC, what would you do then?
I mean, I think that you have to. You have to
It's a
look at all
tough
the
one.
facts. You have to look at all the facts and see, is this isn't, you can't reward this type of behavior. I think
No,
there does have to be some type of backlash,
there has to be.
some type of what's the word I'm freaking looking for, Ross? Punishment. I mean, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Like
some repercussions for this.
yeah, there has to be a repercussion for his behavior, like if you did all that stuff and came into your like I'm trying to rationalize it to another league. Like if somebody in the NFL did that, they'd for sure be suspended
Oh yeah.
for a couple games at least.
Well, we would know. I don't know. They'd be suspended. I don't know how many games they'd be suspended for. It just depends on when Roger Goodell puts his wheel of suspensions and he spins that bad boy. It really just depends on what number it lands on because they. I don't think he has any idea how what he's really doing for in terms of discipline. That's another point, right?
Yeah,
Man, I think this whole situation it's just a shame. I don't shoot. I don't expect anyone to look up to John Jones for is a moral a being is for a guy to really put your morals behind and to kind of replicate his actions. By no means am I saying that, but what I am saying is that John Jones, like everyone else, he's mortal. He's a human at the end of the day, and we all have our problems. We all have our inner demons, and not everyone deserves like deserves good, but I think John Jones he deserves help, and I just want him to come out of this situation a better man, and a better person. I want to be healthy. That's all I see. A healthy John Jones is not only good for himself, his family, but it's ultimately good for the UFC and the UFC fans as a whole. And I think if you're a real UFC fan, you should be hoping the best for John Jones, and you should be hoping that he sees the light at the end of the tunnel and comes out better. That's all I'm saying.
agreed.
So let's how about we move on to some more fun conversations?
Let's do it.
So moving on from UFC, let's move on into the NFL, man. Couple free agent quarterbacks still need homes. The first one I want to talk about is former Carolina Panthers quarterback, former MVP, former Super Bowl choke artist, Cam Newton. Where is this guy gonna end up? So my thoughts, I'm gonna tell you where he's gonna end up, Blake. He's not going to end up with the Bears anymore. Whereas I first thought, because they traded for Nick Foles to compete with Mitch Trubisky. I thought that was a stupid trade. But what you gonna do? Because, man, I don't know what they're doing up there in Chicago. But I think especially after the video he posted this weekend on Instagram, really fanning the flames with him working out with Chargers quarterback as currently their starting quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. Cam Newton was working out with them. And I think that I saw Stephen A talking about this. And one of the few times I do agree with Stephen A on this. I think that Cam Newton is going to be best fit on the Los Angeles Chargers. I think he's going to be a good guy because what Philip Rivers brought a few things to the table. He brought a arm. He brought decision making. He brought fire to the team because he was one hell of a trash talker, and he brought the entire Los Angeles Chargers fan base between him and his 11 children. But what Philip Rivers does not bring to the table is athleticism. He does not bring to a passer that can rush and can pick up yards on his feet. And you want to know who does bring that to the table? That is Cam Newton when he is healthy. I think that this is the best choice for the Chargers, and I think it's also the best fit for Cam Newton.
Yeah, I don't really have too much else to add. I think out of all the teams that are remaining, it does make a lot of sense for him to go there. Him and Tyrod, similar-ish playing styles. And
One's just better at that playing style.
Right. But I
To
mean,
say the least.
Tyrod Taylor still. I never thought he was that. I think he's a serviceable backup for sure. He's a solid backup.
Oh, I would enjoy having him as a backup, but as a starter,
Yeah, I'm scared about that. Full
we saw
season.
his little stint on Baker Mayfield's rookie season. What to Rod make it 4 games?
I just don't get when did Cam Newton become just looked at as trash?
You want to know? I have the answer for you. It was in the fourth quarter, late in Super Bowl 50, when Von Miller got around the right side, stripped Cam Newton, and when Cam Newton did not die for that football, his whole career he was going MVP season, and he was going probably they should have won the Super Bowl unless you're going against one of the best defenses of all time. This is 2015, 2016 Broncos. I'll fan for them a little bit. I think they're at least top 2 defense of all time, possibly the best defense of all time, but that's a different story. Ever
No,
since he didn't die for that fumble, Blake, his whole stock, his whole skill, his whole kind of career trajectory has tanked. And I honestly think we could chalk up to that moment.
I don't think so. I think he's
Yeah.
still a good guy.
I think he's
I think he's still got some games left in him.
I do too. I still think he
I
has.
think a change of scenery could do him really well. Maybe a new obviously a new coordinator. Let's see if he still has it in him. And he's had plenty of time to rest.
Oh yeah. I think he. I mean, it's just workout videos, but he looks good in those. He looks healthy. I'm no doctor, but he does look good in those videos. And I think he was kind of over the last couple of years, he was being kind of weighing down in Carolina. And I do agree. I think the change of scenery, different coaching style, maybe a different offensive scheme, different city, I think it might do him well. Almost like he's like halfway through his career right now, and to hit that reset button and to kind of start from scratch and build up your career again and your image, I think that might be in his best interest, and I think that's going to be a good thing for him ultimately. And I got nothing against him. Like, I'm a Broncos fan, so I'm gonna talk trash about him missing that fumble. But I think he's a good quarterback. I think he could be a great starter for a lot of teams. I wouldn't like him on the Broncos because there's like some rumors people talking about he could be a fit on the Broncos. I think the Broncos have a quarterback in Drew Lock, and they should roll forward with that. And that's also the plans of what they're probably doing in Denver. But I want to see healthy Cam Newton, because that MVP level Cam Newton, that was a fun quarterback to watch. He lit the field up. He was a Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson was in the league.
That was
And
before he had
elite.
McCaffrey on his team too.
Exactly. He was the one putting the team on his back. And people forget Cam Newton's a big dude. He could run like a fullback sometimes, man. And I want the best for like we were talking John Jones. I want the best for Cam Newton, because a healthy and the good Cam Newton at the top of his game is what's good for the NFL and NFL fans as a whole. Second quarterback, Jameis Winston. My landing spot for him is they're going to swap. This what's going to happen, Blake. They're going to swap. Brady went to the Bucks to kind of finish out his career. Jameis is going to become Belichick's next quarterback, and he's going to go up to New England, and he's going to go under that offensive system. He's going to kind of take a piece of the humble pie. Bill Belichick is going to put him in his place, and he's going to mold him in Belichick's system. And Jameis Winston is going to be a serviceable, at the very least, starting quarterback for the New England Patriots starting next year.
That's a fairy tale.
No. Where's he going then? If that's a fairy tale, tell me the nonfiction.
I just don't think that he goes to the Patriots because the Patriots value like mental fortitude. And I just don't think that Jameis Winston has displayed that very well in his career.
You don't believe the words of Coach Bruce Arians trying to spark interest for Jameis Winston, saying that they were going to bring him back if Brady wasn't on there, and he's one of the hardest workers that he's ever seen.
I'm sure they're friends still, but you also saw what Bruce Arians said earlier, like during the season. Like, yeah. I mean, I just don't think Bill wants anything to do with Jameis Winston, especially if he's not going to be taking the veteran minimum salary. So
if not New England, where then?
Super tough for me to say. It just seems like everyone's kind of filled out their needs already, and then like the teams that haven't, are obviously waiting to the draft.
That people might be overlooking that might need the quarterback is the team that traded Nick Foles. I don't think enough people are talking about that. The other Florida team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, probably still need another quarterback on that roster because Minshew Mania, sure, he was lighting up for a few weeks last season, but let's be real, it best, at Minshew's best, he was above average. Whereas if they can get Jameis on a reasonable contract, on the reasonable amount for that contract, I think Jameis Winston could be the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nope. That's
Still
another
no.
fairy tale.
Dude, stop shooting me down like this, man. Well, at least I'm giving a couple of teams. You're not even giving me one, okay?
I know. I need to be better.
You
I
do
just
need to be better.
I just
What am
don't
I
know,
paying
man.
you
Like
for?
Dolphins well, first of all, you ain't paying me nothing. Dolphins, they're most likely going Tua, most
Yeah,
likely.
yeah.
Bengals, they're most likely going Burrow.
Sorry to hold. They are going with Burrow.
Most likely there's always something that's going to happen.
Well, it
And
is the
then
Bengals.
Chargers, I'm hearing a lot of Herbert to Chargers.
They want a second Philip Rivers for some
So
reason.
I just think that like all the quarterback needy teams have already been filled. It's really hard for me to say a guy that really is going to come in there and right away be competing for that starting job because just because of his status, like his previous years of playing, he's always been the starter. It's always been his team. He was a number one overall draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take, I think, the correct situation for him to flourish. And it's going to be interesting to see which team comes calling. I like these are the two craziest like free agent uh like non-signings that I've ever seen. I mean, these in my mind, Cam Newton is a solid quarterback still.
Mm-hmm.
I think like you were saying, I think if healthy and if he's still, near his MVP form, he can be a stud in this league still. Jameis Winston, I'm not so sure on this guy, but I know he's not terrible. He's not one of the worst
He
quarterbacks in
has
the
the
league.
potential. He for sure has the potential.
He's just got to be coached up, I think, and maybe the LASIK does some wonders. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see where he does land.
Who knows? If we're talking about this isn't realistic by any means, but if we're talking about a place that Jameis Winston, the best place for Jameis right now, I think the best place for any quarterback that needs to develop is, man, it's of course it's totally unrealistic, especially given their current cap situation with them only having $177 left in cap space. I'm richer than them. But in all kind of logic aside, Jameis would be best in a perfect world. He'd be best with the Kansas City Chiefs under Andy Reid in that style of speedy offense.
Huh. That would be wild. But
Right?
yeah, just there's no way, no
No,
reason.
there's no way. There's no reason for them. But if we're talking about from Jameis's perspective, that could be the best. I don't know where that guy is going to end up. I think, man, I'm actually more so on the Jaguars now. I really do. I think the Jaguars need a quarterback like that, and I think they could really land a guy like that. So with
What about the
that,
Colts? Oh wait, the Colts signed Philip Rivers. Never mind.
yeah, yeah, right. That's why I was thinking the Colts are going to be a good landing spot for Cam Newton, but they got Phil Rivers, they got their guy. It is what it is at this point. It's crazy. To your point, though, they're almost every team is full because either they have signed their quarterback, or they're going to take some guy in the draft, and we already know that. And so it's a really weird situation to be in for these two guys, and to be any free agent quarterback right now, and any quarterback looking for a spot because it's not looking good. It really isn't.
The only way I could see something changing is maybe if someone slid up in front of Miami, or
Mm-hmm.
if someone besides Miami took Tua, then I think Jameis goes to Miami.
Mm-hmm. I think that could be a good option. Let's talk about ESPN getting desperate. So we all know that their current Monday Night Football commentary team is not the best, to say the least. Booger McFarland and Joe Tessitore, man, not good. We all can't forget during the wildcard game between the Bills and Texans about Booger's legendary piece of advice for the Bills. He advised the Bills to on third down to run a draw play. This is late in the fourth quarter. He advised for the Bills to run a draw play, pick up a few yards so you can spike the ball on fourth down, stop the clock. And if you guys didn't catch the stupidity in that, you might want to press rewind real quick and listen to exactly what he said. Dude, Booger, either he says the most obvious things, He says the dumbest things, or says things that flat out do not make any sense. And Joe Tessitore is just he's
Boring.
good, decent, I guess. But he is no Tony Romo to say the least. But ESPN is looking for a new Monday Night Football commentary team, but they've been turned down by multiple people. Most recently has been Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning declined a $17 million dollar a year contract, and we also had Tony Romo, who chose to stick with CBS after he signed a $16 million a year $1 million a year contract to stay with them. And this, I think, that was the first time in his lifetime that Tony Romo was a very highly sought after free agent. Never will we hear those words in his NFL career. But hey, as a commentator, he's actually really good, and
That's
I
because he
really
was
enjoy
locked down in the Dallas Cowboys his whole career.
It's also because no one won.
Put some respect on Tony Romo's name.
I'll put some respect as him as a holder for a field goal, and he'll drop that one. He'll fumble that out of the way. Also fumble away their playoff chances against the Seattle Seahawks. But poor Tony, I never really, I didn't hand the guy. It's just fun to make fun of him.
It sounds like you took your girlfriend.
Dude, you can't take what I never had in the first place, okay?
True.
Thank you. But I really like Tony Romo on commentary. I haven't met anyone that doesn't like him. I think he brings a very, very high level of insight to the game. And also, he doesn't say anything stupid.
I think Monday Night Football is probably a commitment too. Like, just think about it. Like, Tony Romo, he'll get mostly afternoon games. You'd think probably like anywhere from the 1 p.m. to the 4 p.m.
CBS
games.
is most of those ones.
Every now
like
and then he might get a prime time game, but for the most part, he'll be sticking to the afternoon games. That's got to be chill.
That's
people have to be keeping
too.
that in mind. Like when the Monday Night Football, like you're going to be working super late. If you're East Coast, you're going to be working till midnight. If you're West Coast, you're going to be, long mornings, long nights. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one thing that works against them. But also, I think it should just be easier for ESPN to land these big names. You're throwing $17 million at people.
Still can't get them.
There's got to be a good option B to Peyton Manning that does not involve Booger McFarland or Joe Tessitore.
I was about to ask Blake because I'm going to throw out some suggestions for the new Monday Night Football announcers. And there is a better option than those two. There is the best option on the market right now is the always electric, the always amazing, the always at the top of his game. You have Pat McAfee. This dude, what can he do? He's had some experience in commentating football games. He was able to commentate, I believe it was the Packers and Detroit Lions game a few years back. He's on ESPN College Game Day. He's been doing WWE. And he has the Pat McAfee show, which is honestly, I think it's my favorite sports show on the market right now. They do a great job with that, and I think what Pat McAfee brings is not only he brings a great insight because he's a very smart and very educated man, but he brings this electricity that is matched by almost no one in the profession. That's why he does WWE, because they need electrifying commentators like that. And Pat McAfee is an electric factory when he was on the field and now when he's off the field. And I think that he'll maybe not be the best fit for an ESPN kind of thing, because at least because I don't know if ESPN will let him do his thing. That's why I loved him as XFL too on the on-field commentary, because they let him do his thing, and he was great giving his spiel all the time. And I will love to hear Pat McAfee on my TV every single Monday night.
Yeah, I think you just kind of laid it out, though. There's no way that the ESPN's going to let him do his own thing and let him carry the show, because
which is a shame.
He's just too much of a loose cannon. At this point in his career, it's too early. He just retired from football, not even 2-3 years ago.
Years back.
So, I mean, he has to get some more experience knocked up. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy Pat McAfee. I think if you're in our age range, probably like anywhere from 18 to 30, maybe even 40 years old, you'd probably love Pat McAfee, because he's going to say all the things that, a regular dude would say. If you're a little bit older, you'll probably look at him and, raise your eyebrow a little bit and say, wow, this guy's a little too much.
Shake your cane at him.
So I I think that there's just no way you could get worse than Booger. I would love to have Pat McAfee on there. I just think that the PC era it's just a little hard to put a guy like Pat McAfee in front of a microphone in front of that many viewers when there's just no telling what he's going to say. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. So,
Yeah.
no
I agree with
disrespect,
you.
dude, but
So
you
it's
just
not
never
Pat
know what he's
McAfee,
going to
man.
say.
Not Pat McAfee. Who would you, maybe a little more realistic, who do you think that ESPN should go after?
You got to go after a personality, somebody that will captivate the viewers, which is why I was kind of surprised when they picked like Jason Witten. He's a good guy. He's, and I'm sure in Dallas he's super popular.
He's a real professional, but I don't know if he screams entertainment.
Yeah, right. Like it's got to be entertaining. I mean, Booger is the bad side of entertainment. Like that's like the laughing at you, not laughing with you type of entertainment.
He's the lowest kind of entertainment he's entertainment that you don't want to have.
It's like you're getting the views, but you're not providing the substance. You want to provide the substance while also maintaining the views and maybe even growing. I like how they kind of go, they pick the pocket of the NFL afterwards, and retired players like the, Tony Romos, the Rich Gannons, people like that. I wouldn't mind if maybe they go after some of those NFL Network guys, or maybe like try and get. I think Deion Sanders is a coach now, huh?
Yeah.
Why not try to get someone that's just a huge personality? Try to get.
If you want a huge personality, he's not an ESPN guy, but Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp on Monday Night Football would be insane.
One of the greatest smack talkers in all of professional football.
Now, he would know what he would be talking about, too.
He would know what he's talking about. He might go on some tangents where no one knows what he's talking about.
He wouldn't tell you to run the ball on 3rd and 3 or whatever it was.
He wouldn't tell you to draw and then spike it on 4th down.
Spike it afterwards. No way.
Man, even say that, give me Shannon Sharp on my TVs on Monday night.
That would be pretty sweet, right? I think, hey, we should...
See, even as a Raiders fan, you should respect that. But what about... I'll tweet at that. What about this? The ultimate anti-ESPN commentating power duo. Shannon Sharp, Pat McAfee.
Yeah, there's no way. Because Shannon Sharp, first day, he would roll up in there in the studio with a freaking Black and Mild and some Henny. And people would just be like, yeah, there's no way. There's no way this is going to make it.
I'd pay to see that. I would pay to see Shannon Sharp and Pat McAfee. With Shannon Sharp was smoking with the kind of a stogie in his mouth, with the bottle of Hennessy in his hand, and Pat McAfee in his suit shorts. I would pay to see that, by all means. But ESPN's not cool enough to give that to us. But the XFL can. That's why the XFL is better than ESPN in terms of production and what they do for football. Unfortunately, we don't even have that anymore. More NFL news. The NFL draft is carrying on as expected, but not everyone is happy about it. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced on Thursday in a league memo that was obtained by Adam Schefter that the draft will take place as scheduled April 23rd through 25th. He also included in the memo public discussion, quote, public discussion of issues relating to the draft serves no useful purpose and is grounds for disciplinary action. Come on, man. What do you think about this? He's saying that you can't speak out against the draft or publicly, or you'll be disciplined by the league. Come on, Roger. You can't have stuff like that, can you? You can't say stuff like that, can you?
I mean, I don't really see the problem with it. It's just him saying words. I don't think there's anything that's going to actually be done.
You don't think there's anything behind that? It's just an empty threat?
Yeah. I mean, they're going to hold the draft and it's going to be on TV. Like, everything's fine, in my opinion. Like, the only thing that pisses me off is the fact that it's not going to the only thing that pisses me off is if Las Vegas does not get the 2022 draft. I know 2021 is already under plans and all that stuff. Like, that totally makes sense for whoever's hosting that one to still go through. But the
Hmm.
2022 draft needs to come back to Las Vegas. And if it doesn't, that's just bullcrap.
Yeah, I know you're still pissed off about that. And have you received your refund yet?
Well, I mean, the only thing I bought was a plane ticket to Vegas through Southwest. So I'm
Oh,
just going to
okay.
take credits, and then
Got the credit
go
for
to a
that.
Raider game
There
later in the
wasn't like
year.
actual ticket for the draft you had to get.
No, usually the
The-
drafts are always free to the
That's all
public,
just first come, first serve.
pretty much. I mean, you can buy like tables,
Hmm.
but those are like you're talking thousands of dollars, and
Oh.
usually the first round is all sold out, so you'll only get to be there for rounds 2 and 3.
Hmm. So so this whole draft is just going to be televised. So, Blake, do you have any suggestions of changes that we can make to the draft this year to make it maybe a little more watchable, to make it a little bit more of a spectacle?
I think it's going to be the same as the only thing that we're not getting is the players walking across the stage. So I don't get why anybody is making a big deal about this. It's literally an NFL draft where people are just getting their name called. Nothing else is happening. You get to
I'll
throw on
tell
some
you how we
highlights.
can make this a big deal,
Nothing
though.
else is happening.
Well, see, most of the time, what's nice about the draft is
It's going to
that
be
it gives
just as
us
exciting as it always is. I promise.
so not very.
What do you want them to do? I mean, it's not like they have the
I'll tell
players out there
you
doing
what I want them
backflips.
to do,
They're
Blake.
gonna. What I think
I'll
they should
tell
do
you.
is have a
Okay.
live feed of the players that they
Mhm.
can connect via Skype and via whatever
Zoom
means of
business meeting.
communication they have. They have a live feed. They can have the family reaction. They can capture that moment. Because it's the 21st century. Everyone should have a smartphone at this time and age. So that's really the only thing that I could like. At least we'll be able to see all of their. Maybe get like a little small interview with them too. That's really it. Like, what
Yeah.
else do you want to include? I mean, it's
See,
just a
the thing
draft.
about the draft is that most time it's there to give us a taste of football when it's not actually real football. And the draft takes place during other seasons such as NHL, MLB, and NBA. It takes place during those seasons. It takes place when MLB is just getting started and it's great. And it's when the NHL and NBA is getting down to the wire. So there's a lot of sports going on. But of course, right now, there's nothing going on. So what I say you make the draft the biggest spectacle that has ever been, and you make it watchable because what else are we gonna watch as sports fans? I say you overproduce the hell out of this. I want pyro, I want special effects, I want TV with giant graphics and CGI things on the screen. I want to see Roger Goodell instead of the booze that he. Oh, that's the thing. We're not going to see Roger Goodell come out to booze this year because no one's going to be there to boo him. It's a shame. That's a damn shame. But I want to see Roger Goodell walk out of that entranceway with like smoke and fireworks and all that fun stuff, loud rock music. Just get everything going, everything pumping. I want them to make this a spectacle.
You
I
watch
want this.
way too much WWE.
You're damn right I do.
Just way too much.
No, because this is the whole thing. I know it's stupid. I know it's probably not going to happen. I know it's not realistic. But I say just screw it, man. Just go for it because they're saving money on some stuff right now. They're saving money by having it in the studio. So, dude, like, what they got to lose at this point, man? Just make it fun, make it stupid, make it over the top, make it everything that the NFL isn't. Make it everything that the NFL isn't, and that's a fun league to watch. Make it what the XFL would do. Okay?
You'd
And
are
I'd
we are
watch
we
that.
done here in Fairy
We're
Tale La La
done.
Land?
We are done in Fairy Tale La La
I
Land
want to hear your
because
next suggestion. I like that a lot.
okay, a little more realistic. I think we make the draft a week-long event. I
Yes.
think we should dedicate a night per round. We should really go in like what they have on the first night. Make that every single night for all 7 rounds because we go through all 32 picks on the first night and that's it. I think we should go through each pick of each round and treat it with the same importance as that first night does, even though we all know it doesn't. But we should produce it the way because, as I said earlier, what else are we going to watch? I'll sit down, I'll watch a couple hours of draft each night because I got nothing better to do, okay? And so I think we might as well, right? Might as well. What else is ESPN going to be showing? What else are those companies going to be showing? You can do this on Fox. You can do this on CBS because I don't know the full thing of who has the rights to the draft, but why not make it that week long event?
Yeah, that's the only thing is I just don't know how easy it is for them to change the structure of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just scheduling is really the only thing that I really have no idea on.
But would
I
you
like
like to
that
see
idea
that week
though.
long?
I think it would be really cool to have a round per day. Maybe like at least the first 5 rounds, because I mean
Mm-hmm.
there's still I mean
There's
a round every day wouldn't be too crazy, because at that point it would maybe last 2 hours for the first round, let's say, really highlight them,
mm-hmm.
2 to 3 hours like it would normally last on the first round, and then
Hour and a half for each round.
second and third rounds are going to start going a little faster because the time decreases, after the first round.
Yeah.
And I think that it would be really cool. It would give every fan kind of an extra incentive to watch, because they'll
Mm-hmm.
know, I'll get okay, the player that we're drafting, they're gonna get a little bit more in-depth detail analysis, or excuse me, analysis from the guys up there on the TV, and that's going to be a little bit more interesting, I think, and intriguing to the casual fan. So that might even get some lower tier guys, guys that aren't as highly touted coming out in this NFL draft. It'll probably get them a little bit more shine, and I think that'd be super cool.
Exactly. And then you have Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick of the draft, come out to Pyro. Thank you very much.
Jeez.
What you going to do, man? I
Should
like
we
a
get should we
good.
just get The Rock to announce every pick too?
Yes. You say that like it's a bad thing. You say that like you wouldn't love that.
Well, I'm just trying to stick with the theme here that
I'd
we're
say I'd
going.
say that Pat McAfee, going back to him, he did a great job in Tennessee announcing one of the Colts draft picks. Have Pat McAfee instead of Roger Goodell announce every single draft pick.
I don't know. I don't think Roger wants to give that one up.
No, because Roger is a piece of crap.
That's his shining moment. That's the one thing he can't get wrong.
Even that, he still gets it wrong sometimes too, man. Roger Goodell is a case. That's for damn sure. We're going to wrap this thing up by talking about the NCAA finally doing something right and showing that they do have a heart and do have a brain as well. So over on Monday, the NCAA Division One Council has voted to allow schools to give spring sport athletes an extra year of eligibility. So this is something I talked about a few weeks ago in a video talking about them possibly extending this. So they're only doing this for spring sport athletes. They're not doing this for winter. They're not doing this for the fall. And is this? I think this is the right call to make, but this is going to have some impacts in regards to red shirts, in regards to what teams are supposed to look like next year, in terms of what teams are supposed to look like in a number of years. Blake, you like this? You think the NCAA got it right?
I think it's fair to the players. I mean, they legitimately got their whole last season scrapped. That's just, that's not fair.
No.
Boo-hoo, the coaches have to figure it out. It's a numbers game. They'll figure it out. That's really all I got to say on the matter. I mean,
That's fair.
I think it's the right call, just based on the fact that these students, like, they deserve, these athletes, they deserve to have their last two raw and not have it just taken away from them by something that's just unprecedented and no one, could have seen come.
That is damn right. I could speak from experience. Having your collegiate career cut short off of something that you can't control. Mine was a different circumstance. Mine was cut short due to injury. I had to stop playing, get a couple surgeries, and that was that. That was out of my control. And this whole pandemic and the world being shut down, that is out of these athletes' control. And I didn't have my whole season, didn't have my whole career cut short because of a pandemic. But I can't speak to the fact that having something just taken away from you and something for a reason that you couldn't control, that you couldn't see coming, that's not right. And I'm really happy that the NCAA is giving these athletes, these spring sport athletes, one more year to do this and one more year to at least go out on their terms. It's the right thing to do. The NCAA has finally spoken with their hearts and not just their wallets. Even though this is somehow this is probably going to make them even more money too, because that's probably their bottom line, and that's probably all they care about, even though they're a non-profit. but it's the right thing to do, and I'm glad they did it. But with all that, well, yes,
Hell yeah.
Blake?
I was
Hell
gonna say
yeah.
hell yeah.
Hell yeah. With that being said, everyone, I'd like to thank you all for joining us on episode 30 of the Fourth and Long
The
podcast.
big 3-0.
Big
30-30.
3-0, baby. 30 for 30. Jameis Winston, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions on season.
30-30.
Everything has to do with 30. Thank you guys so much for listening. Of course, you can check out all our great content. You can find everything located on our website, which is www.thefourthandlong.com. We got all of our biggest videos there. We have our newest releases. We have newest YouTube releases, newest Spotify releases. You can check out us. You can read yourself some articles over on the website. Really good reads, and they talk about stuff that we talk about on the show, but it's also nice to have a version, written version that you can read, and you can also comment on those as well. You can subscribe to you can put in a subscription for the website, be notified about all new publishings on that. You can find contact information on there. You can shoot, it'd be me a message, and for about anything, if you want, come on the show and do a little guest role. If you have some comments on the show, if you have some segments that you want us to talk about, we're all ears. You can, and that website also links our Twitter or Instagram. Twitter is at Fourth Long Radio. Instagram is at Fourth and Long Radio. And you can find this almost everywhere that there is internet. You can find Spotify, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Have to plug that all at the end of the show. Blake, thank you so much for joining us this week, even though we had some very sad news, some more disappointing news, and just some news that it kind of still sucks to talk about. It was still good to have a little moment, get off our chest, put it all out there in the world, and be able to break it down and talk about some good stuff, though, right?
Yep, have to talk about it all. Got to hit it all on all fronts.
We gotta cover all bases. Let's keep it with the sports theme right there. Cover all bases.
Yep, no judgment, but we're gonna be reporting. We're gonna be talking about shit.
I hate myself for that. But that's also not the only thing I hate myself for. Everyone, I just want you all to stay strong during these troubling and difficult times, these unprecedented times. I hope everyone out there is staying safe, staying healthy, doing the right things, staying indoors, please. And best of all, most importantly, I hope you're able to get through these lack of sports as best as possible without going totally insane. But Ross, that's Blake, and we will catch you guys in the next show.
Later.